And here we go again. So having just added the single digit scoring counter for the behinds, let's make that a double digit counter as well so that we can handle scores greater than 9. We'll start by just duplicating our first digit sprite there. We'll rename it. In fact, it's renamed quite happily anyway. Home behinds digit 2. That works just fine for me. Let's put it where we think it should go, and I think it should go about there. Cool. Okay. So let's just test that out of the box to see what sort of behavior we get. So previously, you remember when we clicked on this trigger button down here, the first digit would increment. And not surprisingly, because we duplicated the second from the first, they're both incrementing. So they're both completely in sync with each other, which, although it looks kind of nice and will be happy news to those who like the 11 times table, isn't really going to help us very much with what we want. So we've got a little bit of work to do there. So let's go back to the message handler from our first sprite, and we need to make that a little bit more complex. I'm going to pull out the next costume call there, and I'm going to add in a if statement. And what I'm going to say is when that particular digit gets to a point where it's going to go from 9 over into 0 again, I want it to tell the next digit that there's been a score overflow, so the next digit knows to update itself. And I'll work backwards with implementing that by starting with broadcasting the message inside this if statement. So I'm not going to broadcast home behind added. It's going to be a new message. It's going to be home behind overflow. A special message to tell any interested sprites that the behind score has overflown one. And I'm going to hook up a handler to that particular message soon. But before I do that, I need to work out what condition I'm going to have in this if statement. Well, what is the actual operator going to be? We need to work out what costume we're currently at. So if we're at the last one and we're just about to go beyond that, then that's when we know we need to broadcast that message. So I think it might be something along the lines of this. We'll do that greater than comparison. 9 is the biggest digit we have, and let's see if we can use the value of our costume number. So if our costume number is greater than 9, then we broadcast a message that we've overflown our score. We can't handle this score anymore just by ourselves. We need a little bit of help. But we still need to go to the next costume from 9 to 0 in this particular case. So I'll add that back in there. Okay. Let's see how that works just by itself. It's not the complete solution, but I just want to make sure I haven't broken anything unnecessarily. Okay, so these two are still hooked up in sync quite happily. I'm not surprised there. I want to make sure I still go from 9 to 0, and indeed I do. So I've got a bit more work to do having added that new broadcast message there. And to be able to get it to work the way I want to go over to my second digit, and I want to change the message that it's receiving to be this overflow. Okay, and what do I want it to do when it gets the overflow message? Well, simply enough, I want it to go to the next costume, the way that the first one is actually working as well. And let's see how that works. Okay, reset ourselves to 0. So now you'll see that the second digit, the one that we added in this lesson, is remaining as 0. The first one is incrementing quite happily with each click. And the big test is going to be when I go from 0.9, do I in fact go to 1.0? Indeed I do. Okay, so that looks like that's all working quite happily. Excellent. And I think we'll take a bit of a break there, and then we'll come back and we'll have a look at the goals component.